Today, I'm driving into Mermaid, an open source diagramming tool. What's so different about it? It's one of the only few tools which doesn't need a graphical interface or a separate UI tool. It works within your Visual Studio Code. It allows you to create diagram like simple programming language. Syntax is Markdown language, so pretty standard. Especially if you are creating some documentation and you want to create some kind of a process flow or some diagram into it, very easy to integrate in GitHub. So I've been testing this for about 3 weeks now, and I noticed there aren't many resources out there which are talking about the right use cases for Mermaid. That's why I decided to put it through its paces and save you all the time. I'll show you exactly where it excels, especially in initial sketching of complex diagrams, different type of diagrams it supports, where it falls short, what are the other tools might be suitable in certain scenarios. By the end of the session, you'll have a clear idea why Mermaid is the right choice and when you might want to consider other tools for your requirements. Let's create a new file and paste some basic content. You can see this is how you can create some markup language, and I put a link to this site. Now to view this, you can do Control Shift and V to see the diagram view. Now to get this preview, you want to download an extension which is called Markdown Preview Enhanced. This is the one which you will install. Once you install it, you should be getting an option when you do Control Shift P to open a preview in the side window. And this way, whatever you are typing is visible. Now let's go to the Mermaid Live. This is a simple interface from Mermaid to test out any syntax. There are some sample diagrams available here. What a flowchart look like. Now another type is called sequence. This is the syntax here to create it. Then you can create a class diagram, state, ER, Gantt chart, user journey, different views possible. So this is a quick place for you to test out any ideas. You can also click on the docs and you can see a little bit more about what it is. Click on view on GitHub. That takes you to the repo. Here you can see different examples of what you can create here. If you go a little bit down, there are some examples, how flowchart look like, how sequence diagram works, Gantt chart. You have created this code, you wanna put it into your diagram. The process is pretty simple. You can paste it here. Now, if you put Mermaid, we can make a change here. Let's create a diagram. We want to create a cluster representation. So define the chart type, which is flow chart. You wanna create a subgraph, DC1, and this subgraph. Create a node, and as I'm typing, you can see the node got created. Now we want to copy, create a second node and a third node. With that, we created 3 data centers. Each is running one node, and let's see if we can connect them. So we say A, and that created connection between them. We see. This is how we can represent always on setup. And let's use the ChatGPT to see how it can help us create this diagram. So let's put a simple command to ChatGPT, and it starts building the command. Let's copy this code, go to Visual Studio. If you paste it, now we can add Mermaid here, and immediately you can see another diagram created. Now you can always modify it the way you want it. You can change the color to say blue, and it's got blue, doesn't look nice, but you get the point. If you don't want it asynchronous commit, you can always make it synchronous commit, and you can immediately see the changes are getting reflected in the preview. And that's why this is so powerful. Noted limitation for most of the other softwares, but not in this case. Typically when you create diagrams, or I have created in the past using Visio, and even in PowerPoint, I tried to demo how a failover cluster should look like. But quite a number of steps need to be done. You create the diagram, or then you save it to PNG or JPEG, and then you move it around, and then you control the size of JPEG and all that. So all that is quite cumbersome. Now I don't have to go to Visual or any other. And when I'm working on a project, I can quickly think about what is that I want to show. And now the processes are not just documented steps. They are more like a flowchart can help enhance those documents. Let's talk about some of the limitations of Mermaid. The first one is inflexibility in merging diagram style. Means you just can't merge two diagrams styles into each other. So if you're using a flowchart, that's the only thing will work. And if you're using Gantt chart, then that's the only style will work. It doesn't allow you to pick a good component or good style from one diagram into another one. So that's something you want to be aware of. Second is tagging and styling limitations. So while you can change the boxes like blue to red, for example, but what you cannot do is that you cannot ID these arrows. For example, like when I'm saying styling, I'm saying secondary 2 should be this color. But when I'm link styling, it doesn't let us do secondary 2 for that. So which means if tomorrow we remove some of these arrows, in that case, the sequencing will be off and you have to redo some of the work. So take note of that. Now, the third limitation is control over diagram layout. There is very limited control you have available to the diagram. You can say that rather than TD, which is top down, it should be, left to right. You can make it right to left. But what you can't do is in which direction each of these arrow will go, or you want to drag one of the arrow and modify it in a certain fashion. That control you don't have. So that is a limitation you might want to be aware of. Third limitation, to see this limitation, let's put it here. For example, we have this diagram which talks about how a client connection come through SQL Server AG and then pass it on to cluster service and quorum is working. But this is too big, and to reorganize, that's not an option. So that's a limitation. Now let's talk about some of the other tools available. One of such tools is Excalidraw. So you can click here, create boxes, you can give it a name. This is pretty much simple way to connect. We can take an input of Mermaid to Excalidraw. So if I put the syntax here, and when you paste the diagram here, when you insert, it does show up here, but still some of the links are broken and it's not looking as nice as you could see in VS Code. So this is still a better way. It's just that you can't control it really, really well. Excalidraw offers quick and dirty sketching. Basically good for rapid, informal driving, putting your thoughts onto the paper. But at the same time, it gives you enhanced control over your diagrams. You can put it to any specifications you want. Another such competitor is Obsidian. Obsidian is a versatile tool. So if you're looking for something which can allow you to seamlessly transition from documenting notes to diagrams, it's a pretty useful tool, so you can check it out. Another tool for diagramming nowadays is Lucidchart. So for free users can create 3 diagrams. Interesting part is that these diagrams can be consumed on Microsoft Office 365 or Google Cloud documentation. Not like you have to copy a JPEG and then put it there and change it. So it's pretty useful. But since it's only 3 and still you have to use a tool rather than you can draw it along with your note taking. That's it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Next video, I'll show you not only ChatGPT can help us leap over that initial hurdle, but also provide diverse perspective with Mermaid diagrams. See you in the next one.